I went to this movie called Nowhere. This has to be one of the most amazing stories I've ever seen in my entire life. So we got this couple, Nico and Mia. Now Mia's pregnant. She's by about 8 months in, right? So these two are escaping from this like so-called regime. They had to give her whatever money they could, including her wedding ring, just to get on this like cargo truck, and they were able to make it on the truck. Now they're driving there, a couple other people in this truck. So I think it's about 20, 30 people, men, women, and children. Now in this truck, they're trying to be able to escape to somewhere else where they could potentially live their lives because this so-called regime is taking over, and there was some holes in the truck, whatever, like that, bullet holes in the truck, so she's able to see outside of it, right? They were seeing men being killed, women and children were being captured. Now I don't know whether they were selling them as slaves, keeping the women around to do whatever, or just killing them off the top. But bottom line is anything could go in this situation. So they get to another stop where they're trying to pick up more people, but the thing is they're taking on too many people in this truck, so they have to start getting rid of half of them and putting another half on another truck. Now here's the thing. And we find out she had a daughter by the name of Uma before, but the thing is she got killed. I'll explain that in a minute. Somehow they start getting half the people off the stuff, and then both of them end up getting separated. Mia's still in the cargo truck. Nico ends up getting taken over to this other cargo truck. She looks outside, and the truck has 107 on it, so she knows the identity of the other cargo truck. The thing is, they both got phones so they can contact each other or whatever like that, but obviously they have to save their juice because, you know what I'm saying, yeah. They end up getting to a check stop, so these people got to come in and check, and these are like regime niggas that's checking the trucks. Mia ends up climbing up on the top of these two big-ass crates and just hiding there, right? She was trying to bring this other girl up there, but she couldn't. The people check the truck, they don't see nothing but this one little cargo, but the thing is, it's two slots to this thing. It's like behind another doors where all the other people are hiding at. Now, these regime people figure there's something in the house hiding back in the truck, so they count to three, and they say if they don't open the door, they're going to blast that shit. This one little girl finally opens up the compartment. They see him, and guess what? They end up lacing everybody in that bitch anyway. Men, women, and children, they all end up dead. They clean up the truck, and then they allow the truck to move and keep going. So Mia ends up calling Nico, telling him, like, yo, find some place to hide. They're not letting you in. They'll shoot you on sight. A couple hours go by. Mia ends up waking up, and she looks through the holes and finds out that they're actually being put on a ship. Now on this ship, they end up going through this thunderstorm, which is like terrible. It's the wind is messed up, you know what I'm saying? The waves jumping off. It's crazy. It's to a point where a couple of the cargo shipments fell off of the fucking boat. She wakes up after the storm is over and realizes she's in the middle of the fucking sea, out in the middle of nowhere. And she's basically stuck. So she looks into this bag that she has, whatever like that. She's got this like power drill. She got like a little strobe light, a sandwich, a Snickers bar that Nico gave to her. Then she starts checking the cargo on there, right? The cargo has like TVs, headphones, Tupperware, jackets. And she also found like a couple cans of tuna. She tried to make a phone call, can't get no signal. Now she's been trying to call Nico ever since the crew got shot. The bottom line, she hasn't been able to get contact with him. And then all of a sudden, there's two holes at the bottom of the cargo ship, whatever like that. So the thing is, she uses pieces of the rubber off of Tupperware to block up the holes. Then she hears screaming. She starts looking out of one of the holes. Turns out the 107 joint was in the water too, and it was sinking. And it sinks all the way down to the bottom of the sea, so everybody in that bitch is dead. She tried to call Nico again, didn't answer. Now she's thinking to herself, Nico was in that cargo ship, dead as shit. Now she also had one of these knife contraptions, that has like a knife, a corkscrew, whatever like that, where you flip it up. She was almost about to slit her wrist, and all of a sudden the baby started kicking. So now she's got she really has a reason to, keep going, right? She chews on a little bit of a sandwich at a time. Then later on, another storm comes in. You're like, oh my God. Before that, she was able to find another phone because her phone had got smashed. So she switches her chip into the other phone or whatever like that, tries to call Nico, no answer. Tries to call 911, no answer. Then the phone actually rings again. Turns out it's Nico calling her. You're like, what the fuck? So apparently before that 107 ship went down, Nico was able to sneak out and get onto another spot. Now he's like in the middle of the desert somewhere. So at least she knows he's still alive. I don't know how she was able to get signal through the flip phone, but somehow that happened. So now she's got even more reason to stay alive. But then the storm comes, and then on top of that, her water breaks. I'm like, oh my God. So the water in this cargo ship is like a fourth of the way up, and she's like standing in the water and basically ends up giving birth in the fucking cargo ship. She somehow made sure the baby was still alive, and it was a girl, and she named her Noah. So after a day, he was trying to teach her daughter to breastfeeding and stuff like that, and then finally the daughter started feeding or whatever like that. So she's like, all right, cool. Now she's getting something to eat. So now she got to get some of that water out the cargo ship. She ends up finding a hose, right? So she puts the hose in one of the holes, right? And then uses some of the Tupperware to get the water out, whatever like that, and just like pushing it back out into the water. That shit was crazy. Now she also had a lighter too. I'm going to tell you when this comes up. So she ends up using the power drill, right, to drill holes at the top of the spot. So basically to try to drill holes so she could, get some type of escape to be able to get outside of the cargo ship. She drilled a bunch of holes, but eventually the drill lost its power or whatever like that. So she started using a knife to try to carve the rest of this shit up. But, it wasn't working for a while, but then it started working a little bit. Then the thing broke right when she was about to pull the thing off. Then she found some other type of knife to keep digging into it, right? Eventually, she ends up pulling this thing out, and now she's got a hatch so she can open up so that way she can get outside of the cargo ship. Before that, she was ended up running out of food. Now, keep in mind, at this point, it's been about 6 days. She pulls the hatch and gets out. All of a sudden, she sees a helicopter. We're like, airplane. We're like, oh shit. So the airplane can't see her, right? She goes downstairs and breaks one of the TV screens, right? And she ends up, using it as a reflector. When she's trying to go back out, she's hurrying up, trying to get up there, but she ends up scraping her leg up, trying to get the reflector of vision, but the airplane didn't see her. You're like, fuck. Now we get to some nights where whales were outside and whales were like, tipping up against the thing, and it was like fucking with the daggone cargo ship. So she starts yelling at it to make sure the whale goes away, and eventually it went away, but shit was crazy. So luckily she was able to get the hatch open because basically they're running out of food. So once she got the hatch open up top, she started noticing around, there was actually fish in the area, right? So she attaches some things together. She attached some wires together, whatever like that. She tries to hunt for some fish. She tries to spear them, but no luck. So she attaches a bunch of speakers and the headphone wires together, whatever like that, to make a net. The only reason why the fish were even coming around, she was using like pieces of the jackets or whatever like that to make diapers for the baby. When she threw one of the diapers in the ocean, she realized the fish were coming around to the diapers. I was like, oh shit. She was using the diapers and the nets to capture fish, and that's how she was getting fish or whatever like that. So she was still able to maintain off the strength of that. And there's this one scene that was fucked up. This was before she was even able to get the hatch open because she was running out of food. She had put her umbilical cord in one of these Tupperware containers, and she was forced to eat that shit. I'm like, ugh. Keep in mind, this was before she got the hatch open. Now, there was this one scene where the baby was getting sick and it was getting kind of cold, right? So she had this lighter. I don't know what she put together, whatever like that. She put some stuff together in this container, whatever like that, to make a fire. So that way it keep the baby warm. She was definitely using her ingenuity, yo. So we get to this one scene. She's on top of the cargo ship just chilling with the baby. And then all of a sudden, I think one of the containers is open with fish. And you see a seagull land there. So you know what that means. If a seagull just landed on the thing, that means there's got to be land somewhere. Now, I guess to this point, she used one of the crates for the baby or whatever like that, right? Now, she's got other stuff attached to her, like the speaker stuff. And she ended up making a raft for the baby out of the Tupperware containers and a TV. Now, one night she was keeping the baby warm. All of a sudden, a phone call was able to come in. It was Nico again, but this time, Nico was saying he escaped off one ship, whatever like that, but they found him. He got caught and he ended up getting shot. And this to be the last time we would hear from Nico. So I'm assuming he's officially dead as shit. We get this one scene where she was hallucinating and she ends up seeing her daughter Uma, right? Now, here's the story behind that. Uma always wanted to be an airplane pilot. The thing was, with the regime, they had to make sure that everybody stayed in the house. I mean, they used to work at this little food shop or whatever like that. But considering the situation, they had to stay in the house. Nico was the one that was going out, taking risks to just get food for the family. Apparently, in one of these situations, Uma ended up sneaking out the house for like 5 minutes, but the regime ended up kidnapping her and basically just doing her in. That's how she died, and Mia's always felt guilty about that shit. So now we get to the point where both of them are back on top of the cargo ship, and she digs in her pocket, and we see the Snickers bar, and I'm thinking to myself, like, did she forget that she had that the whole time? Shit was crazy. So I guess at one point she put that in another Tupperware container. Now at this point, it's been about 26 days at sea, and the cargo ship is starting to fill up even more with water to the point where they can't even go back down there. They have to be on top. She's too tired to even get fish at this point. So she's trying to get something to eat in the Snickers thing. But the thing is, she finds out the Snickers thing is all the way inside on the other side of the daggone cargo ship. We're like, oh my God. So while she goes in there to pick it up, the wind start picking up whatever like that. But as she's getting the Snickers or whatever like that, the fucking is ropes in the cargo thing that's about to hold her down. She's like, oh my God. So now she's trying to free herself from the ropes. Meanwhile, the baby is floating off of the fucking cargo ship and the little raft or whatever like that. I'm like, oh my God. She ends up freeing herself so she doesn't sink with the cargo ship, and now she's just floating, you know what I mean? And then she's trying to look for Nora, can't find it. All of a sudden we hear the whales or whatever like that. The whale splashed on the baby, and the baby started crying, and that's where Nora could hear him and get to the baby or whatever like that. Now she's just hanging on for dear life, and then the daytime comes, and she's just hanging on to the raft at this point. So she's just hanging on to a baby. She's like, I did everything I could, right? So you're thinking to yourself, oh no, she's about to fall off the fucking raft, yo. So the Tupperware containers is holding up the raft. We find out she's got pieces of like fish in there, whatever like that. She starts tossing the fish back in the sea, whatever. Then we see more seagulls coming around or whatever. Then in the distance, we see a random boat with like this family on it, right? So this one lady notices all these seagulls. It's like, what's going on with these seagulls? And I guess they seen like a thing out there. So that's what goes. They go out there and they find the baby. The thing is, Mia's not on the boat. We're like, oh shit. They get the baby up on the ship, or whatever, like that. Then you see this rope, and you can see the rope, but they're pretty hard trying to tug it. So they keep tugging at the rope. Turns out her hand was tied onto this rope with the cargo, with the ship. They will drag Mia up on the boat too. We're like, oh shit. But like, we thought she was damn near dead. They kept having to do CPR and everything like that. And luckily, she was still able to survive. I'm telling you, man, it was a fucking miracle that they were even able to see that. That was the smartness about her when she dropped the fish down in there to hopefully, you know what I'm saying, a bunch of seagulls come up and then somebody will be able to see the shit. So both of them were saved by these people in the boat, and in the distance, you see land. So you're like, oh my God, yo. I was scared for them multiple times in this movie, yo. Like, yo, this shit, I'm pretty sure this is probably a true story too. When I clicked on this movie, I didn't think it would be anywhere near close to this. Nowhere on Netflix. Check it out.